What is up, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day. I wanted to talk about why, throughout my whole playthrough, I have played through the majority of Tactics Ogre. I just got Coda left to do. You know, I've got almost 200 hours in the game, and I want to say why I never used the Knight. I never really used it, and I don't find the Knight very useful. Now, keep in mind, this is a personal opinion. If you enjoy the Knight, hey, enjoy the Knight. If you make the Knight work, that is awesome. I'm not trying to insult you or tell you how to play your game. I just want to tell you why I never really use them. So I used the Knight in the beginning because I had no other choice. Once I was able to swap out the Knight, well, we used a Terror Knight pretty much as soon as that was possible. And I never really put the Knight in much. I put him in some parties here and there, but I never really saw an impact. I never really saw a difference. You know, I did use him in Palace of the Dead. I used the Knight. You know, I tried him a little bit in there. I tried him in some other scenarios. And he for sure went out the window and was never coming back when I got White Knights. So, in my opinion, I know a White Knight isn't as tanky as a Knight necessarily, but a White Knight is still tanky enough that it can kind of do what a Knight does, and that is be a frontline unit and hold a frontline position. So White Knights, if the Terror Knights didn't remove the Knight from my party, the White Knights sure did. Now, what do I think about the White Knight, like, with skills and stats? Well, the skills, you know, Phalanx is good. Like, Phalanx is really good. It is an amazing defensive skill. You know, reduce damage by 80% until next turn. Guardian Force even also has a purpose. You know, your Knight can protect your frontline squishies, or even if it sits back by caster units. You know, these two skills are probably the Knight's best things it can ever have. You know, these are the best skills you could have on a Knight, and you would almost always want to run both of these if you could. Rampart Shadow, Sanctuary Shadow, I've never used these. I didn't even use these in the PSP version. You just put a clone of yourself that sits there. It's a shadow version. I don't really see the value in it. I've never really used them even on classes that can. You know, Rampart Aura is good. Steadfast is good. Pincer Attack. You know, the Knight has, like, decent, average, good skills. I mean, there's nothing really here that's, like, crap other than, I feel like, the shadows. So why don't I like the Knight? Well, you can't really deal a lot of damage with the Knight. Now, hold up. I know you min-maxers out there are going to come in here, and you're going to be like, hey, man, I have this legendary gear, I have this relic weapon, I have this set that I use. Yes, any unit with a top tier set or a top tier weapon is going to do damage or whatever you want it to do. But if that unit needs that to be good, is the unit really that good? If a unit needs an equipment set or a weapon to perform up to the standard of other units or to be effective, in my opinion, that doesn't make it good. It should be good with whatever you have on it, or at least acceptable and able to perform. And I don't think the Knight can really deal damage. Even with hammers and the hammer finishers, the Knight's damage output is really lacking to me. And you might say, well, that's not the purpose of the Knight. The Knight's meant to be a tank, it's meant to hold the front line, and you would probably be correct. But I still feel like the Knight don't even hold the front line that well. Even with Rampart Aura, which is going to slow enemies down, and Phalanx, I found the Knight, unless it was in a choke point or a very 1x2 square or 1x3, you know, just a very 2 to 3 tile square area that enemies had to funnel through, like a stairway or something in some of the interior maps. You really couldn't stop people. You really couldn't stop enemies. And then the enemies can always just jump down. They can always just jump down off the stairs unless it's a cliff or a abyss, you know. But a lot of, like, the interior maps and stuff that had, like, stairways and walkways, you could just plop down, you know, and avoid everything. So I never really got used side of that tactic that a lot of people said, where you would just hold a choke point with Rampart Aura, Phalanx, and then just keep everything held back. Because I never really found single tiles. They could always get around you. There's always at least a 2 or 3 tile, you know, wide that you could work with. So I don't know. I just never got that strategy to work very well, and I didn't find it that useful. And it can cast heal, you know, which is about the only magic it has access to. And at the beginning of the game, it was nice to have another unit that could heal, but I basically played him as a White Knight, even though he wasn't a White Knight, without all the skills a White Knight has, because I would just use my Knights to heal when I did use them. They would kind of just sit on the front lines, heal themselves, or heal other units. HP is respectable, you know, and its stats are decent, but like I said, I don't see the value, because at the end of the day, I found, as I got further in the game, I found damage to become more and more important, and winning battles as quickly as possible to become more and more important. And when you have a knight in your party, I feel that's one less unit that can deal damage and help you end a battle quickly, especially Chapter 4 and harder areas. So as I adapted to the strategy of let's win this battle in 5 turns or less, and then just eke out the damage and only revive units. I almost got to the point where I just wouldn't even heal. I would just Blessing Stone, because when you Blessing Stone, they get their turn back, and then I would just smack something, and if my unit died again, I'd Blessing Stone again, because guess what? I'd have 12 units with 2 Blessing Stones. That's 24 revives. I'm not going to need more than 24 revives in a battle. So, Blessing Stones are kind of OP in that regard, because you get your turn right away. And if I really wanted to, I would heal with a 100% heal pot on that turn, or a 75%. So I never really, that's why I don't really need clerics too. A lot of people like clerics and stuff, and that's why I don't need them, because I just suicide my units in and then just keep reviving them. Let the enemy hit them again. I'll just bring them up with another unit on the next turn, and I know there's people that do the no tarot and no end cap, and that's totally fine. Play the game how you want. But the way the devs intended you to play it, I'm playing it that way. And the way I do it with the items and stuff, that's always worked. I found that out like when I fought Nibeth in Chapter 1. I discovered that, like, wow, Blessing Stones are overpowered. So at the end of the day, I could ramble a little bit more about the Knight and stuff, but that's why I don't find the Knight useful, and I never really used them, is they don't offer great offensive power. Even their defensive options are, like, limited to me. And you know what they say, the best defense is a good offense. And I just don't see the value of a Knight outside of maybe the early game. And if you want a tanky unit, I feel there's other options. And if you want frontline units, there's so many other options. I just find the Knight to be too basic and too simple for my tastes. Too generic, one would say. We got a lot of classes in this game, and there's a lot of cool, unique ones, and I'd rather have them. But like I said, if you enjoy a Knight, hey, more power to you. You make that Knight work and make him be a staple of your party. But let me know how you guys think. Are you a Knight enjoyer? Are you a Knight hater? Do you just not care about the Knight? Let me know. I'm very curious, because like I said, I love your guys' input. I love to have a discussion with you guys. I try to read and respond to every comment. And, I try to keep the Tactics Ogre content coming. It's we're approaching the 200 video mark on Tactics Ogre videos, and it gets hard to find stuff to talk about. But I really enjoy the game, and I want to keep it alive, and I want to keep the discussion going in the hopes that, maybe someday we'll see another Tactics Ogre, or maybe we'll see a Final Fantasy Tactics, which I'll be all over. This game's very close and near and dear to me. I played it, back in the day on the PSP. I never got to play the PS1 version, unfortunately. But I'm hoping maybe we'll see a remake of that or something. I know this game did well, and I know we got more coming, so let's just keep hoping that's a thing. But as always, thank you guys so much for your support. Thanks for checking out the video. I appreciate it. And if you made it this far in the video, you are awesome. That means a lot to me. Thank you for watching the whole video. And I will see you in the next one. Later, guys. Peace out. Have a good one.